Hi, everyone. I'm Val Orr, and I'm Superintendent of Grosse Ile Township Schools. And I'm excited to give you some information on our upcoming bond proposals on the November 8th ballot. We do have two proposals with one goal of creating future-focused learning environments for our students. If you should have any questions after viewing this information, please don't hesitate to contact my office, any building principal, or anybody on our district leadership team. They'll be happy to get you the answers to your questions. So we are asking voters to consider two proposals totaling $72.39 million to address critical needs in district-wide facilities. The first proposal is a $55.4 million proposal that would actually result in a zero net tax increase over the debt millage that you paid in 2022 and focus on critical needs and modernization across our district. Proposal 2 is for $16.94 million, and that is an ask for a approximate 1.2 mil increase over the debt levy from last year, and is primarily focused on modernizing and upgrading our performing arts and our athletic facilities. So we do have four areas of focus for both proposals. The first one is district right sizing. Due to district or enrollment projections that we have over the next 5 years, we know that we're going to continue to lose students at a pretty rapid rate. Our facilities are already not fully utilized, looking at about 70-80% utilization, and that number will continue to decrease. So our mission is to then create one community within one elementary school and unify our elementaries, both K-5, into one building at Park Lane Elementary. So we're really looking to put an addition on Park Lane and a closed meridian, and then have all of our elementary kiddos under one roof. We also want to look at our infrastructure and make sure that we are protecting the community's investment in its schools. We want to create modernized, innovative spaces, STEM labs at the middle school and high school, maker spaces throughout Park Lane, and then create some other personalized learning environments that focus with our goal of creating that future focused learning environment that I talked about. And when I talk about future focused learning environment, what I'm really talking about is the fact that our kids are going to be entering a workforce that looks very different than what you or I entered when we entered the workforce. And our facilities and our classrooms and learning environments and the places where our kids learn really need to be a model for what those future workplaces look like. So we need to provide opportunities for our kids to work in teams, opportunities for our kids to be critical thinkers, opportunities for our kids to work with their hands, and all the things that they'll be expected to do if they're going to compete for jobs in a future job market. We also want to continue to focus on safety and security throughout the district. A lot has been done with previous bonds and sinking funds, but safety is something that we always need to consider. And so we do have some security updates included in these bond proposals as well. And then finally, we want to update our technology, auditorium, the high school auditorium, athletic fields, and playgrounds that promote district health and wellness. So let's look a little bit more specifically at Proposal 1, which has a focus on critical needs throughout the district and then modernizing our buildings. So again, we want to utilize a single K-5 building. So we want to put in a classroom additions on and a gym cafeteria addition on Park Lane. We want to construct a new outdoor learning platform on the Detroit River so our kids can access the water for their learning. We want to create modernized collaboration spaces. We already have some from the last bond, and we want to continue to do that work. But we also want to really create these spaces like STEM labs, get some 3D printers, and maker spaces where kids can tinker and practice engineering practices in the engineering cycle. And we just really want to have those spaces that our kids can practice those skills throughout all of our buildings. In terms of infrastructure, when I talk about protecting the community's investment, we want to make sure that our buildings are in great shape, something for everyone to be proud of, and that we continue to provide the proper maintenance over time to keep these buildings in good shape. So we do have a need to update both our mechanical and electrical systems. We want to update our interiors. So that's lighting, flooring, ceiling, plumbing, painting, flooring. Oh, I already said flooring. Replace roofing. Park Lane is in desperate need for a new roof. And if you know anything about the cost of roofs, we're talking, several $1 million for that roof. Upgrade safety, security features, including door hardware and access control improvements. We want to make sure we know who's coming into our buildings, when they're coming in, and that we recognize when someone is entering our buildings. We want to build a campus connector road between the middle school and the high school to help with traffic flow. I am out there on East River dropping off my son, who's a 6th grader at the middle school every morning, trying to pick him up. So I share in just the struggles that our families have for drop off and pick up at all of our buildings, truly. So we are looking at traffic flow, working with civil engineers, and really trying to make sure that we're smart about our design during this bond proposal and that we're addressing traffic and parking issues. And so we also want to upgrade our parking lots. And then moving into technology and equipment, we want to refresh our learning devices, so our Chromebooks, our laptops, our staff laptops, all that for students and staff. We want to upgrade our technology infrastructure throughout the district to make sure that our kids are fully equipped with the technology that they need to be lifelong learners, and then invest in maintenance equipment, food service equipment, so we can continue to feed our kids and not have freezers go down in the middle of the school year, and then purchase buses so that we can continue to transport our kids safely to school every day without issue. So proposal 2 is focused on competitive educational facilities. We have a lot of work to do in this area, and so we wanted to ask the community if they would be willing to support some major upgrades to all of our athletic facilities throughout the district. So we are looking at synthetic turf at both the middle school and the high school. So the high school stadium and the middle school soccer stadium will both receive synthetic turf. We will also upgrade the high school stadium lighting, press box, scoreboard, fencing, seating. All of that will be upgraded. We want to, and then we have the same types of upgrades at the middle school soccer stadium as well. We want to put turf in at both the varsity baseball infield, varsity soccer infield will include turf. And then we're going to get some more better drainage in the outfield for the grass outfields, do some leveling and get those in better shape. We want to upgrade our gym and locker rooms at both the middle school and high school. The high school will be a completely gut job, start fresh. Everything will be brand new. And then we want to upgrade our performing arts auditorium. Our kids do an amazing job with their musicals and their plays and their theater performances and band performances and choir performances. And we really got a lot of work needed for audio visual, lighting, stage equipment, all of that at both the middle school and the high school. So there is that included in the bond proposal as well. Here is a list of the timeline when our families can expect these projects to be completed. It may be hard to read on your screen, so we're going to add this timeline to the information on our website under bond proposal updates, so you can go there to find this. But it pretty much shows that we're doing a 3-series bond starting in 2023 and ending in 2029. And all of our athletic upgrades will be done immediately. Those are in the first series, but we can't do $75 million worth of projects all at the same time. So to sell $75 million worth of bonds and start paying all that interest right away when we can't possibly do all of those projects all at the same time and still have our kids, coming to school, that would be a waste of taxpayer dollars. So what we've done is we've spread those projects over time, using somewhat of a construction timeline, and we will only sell bonds as we need the money. And that's allowing us to do more projects with the interest that we're saving by not rushing out and selling all the bonds right at the beginning. Here's just a couple of renderings. Now we haven't we haven't hired an architect. We don't want to spend money like that without having proposals passed. But we do want to show, just some idea of what some possible renderings could look like at the new Park Lane Elementary with those additions completed. And then I want to talk about the academic benefits of bringing all of our students and staff together under one roof. So, having all of our kids in one building provides a great deal of academic benefit to our kids, and it's certainly research-based. We want our kids to be able to learn from one another and learn with other grade levels, and we want to be able to have all those materials in one building. Unfortunately, we are limited by the general fund budget that we receive from the state. So even though we may have second graders that are reading at fourth grade levels, we don't necessarily have fourth grade materials in our K2 building. So we want our kids to have the materials that they need to both challenge them if they're ready to move on with the curriculum, as well as be able to help our kids that may be in fourth grade and need some more supplemental materials that are below. Obviously, we do have some and we meet the needs of our kids, but this is going to provide an opportunity for us to really expand that and make sure that all of our kids have access to the grade level content that they're ready for at the time. So we want to be able to accelerate our kids' learning. If we have kids that are, I'll use my second grade, fourth grade example. If we have kids that are in the second grade, but they are ready and equipped to be participating in fourth grade reading groups, we want them to be able to do that. We want to have opportunity for our fourth and fifth graders to be mentors to our kindergarten and first graders. So we want to have reading buddies, math mentors, safety patrol, and all of those things that any of you who might have been in a K-5 building, have fond memories of being able to do when you reach those upper grade levels and became a mentor and a role model for younger students. Part of that, small town GI community feel that we have on the island. And we're excited about being able to bring that together under one roof with Park Lane. Special education services. I'm actually going to talk about special education services, support services, and specials teachers all at the same time. Right now, we do have school psychologists, social workers, interventionists. We have support personnel for our kiddos, but we have limited support personnel and we share them between buildings. So for instance, our school psychologist, we have one school psychologist for the entire district. And so she spends a lot of her time traveling in a car from building to building. And our hope is if we bring these elementaries together, that the time that our music teacher, PE teacher, reading interventionist, literacy coach, social worker, school psychologist, special education teachers, the time that they're spending traveling in a car, going from building to building, trying to support our kids, will rather be spent working directly with students. So that means more time with our kids, less time in their vehicles traveling, and that's going to be a huge win for us just in terms of efficiencies. And then professional development opportunities for our staff. So this, bringing all of our elementary staff under one roof, is going to provide opportunities for them to also learn and grow together and collaborate and share best practices and just be the best unified elementary school building that we possibly can be. We've got so much talent within our staff, and the opportunity for them to be able to share it with more than just the teachers that are within the building that they're in right now, but more share that across K-5 is going to be huge gains for our kids and our staff. Here's a look at the athletic facilities. So this is just the outdoor athletic facilities. We are looking at upgrading the competition gym at the middle school. We'll get a new flooring, new scoreboard, all of that. And then the high school gym floor will be replaced, refinished actually as well. But this is the outdoor athletic facility. So I just want to run through these real quick. We are going to get synthetic turf, calling it the multi-purpose field, but it's the stadium, the high school stadium. The reason why we're saying multi-purpose is that when you have turf, you are really able to expand the use of that facility. So it's not just a facility for the football team, it's for the soccer team, our marching band, our lacrosse team, all of our community. Our track is fairly new, so we're not going to be touching the track, but we are able to put a synthetic turf field in the inside of that track and expand the number of students and community members that will be able to use that facility. We want to put in new bleachers, both home and away, new chain link fence around our stadium, new softball turf infield, baseball turf infield, new dugouts for our varsities teams, new synthetic turf auxiliary field, new scoreboard, new press box, new asphalt, new lights, new protective netting, a weight room renovation, new ticket booth, and then behind the administration building, number 15 there, we're calling that future multi-purpose space. We're really looking at how can we use that space to provide an outdoor recreation area for middle school students. So you can kind of think about it as big kid recess. How do we create a space for big kid recess? Our middle school students need an opportunity to get outside, have movement, and it's good for their body, mind, and soul, really. So then, and then we have the future access road that we put in, number 16 there, that we're looking at creating between the high school and the middle school. Here's the estimated cost breakdown between the two proposals. And here's a list of local school districts in our surrounding area that have recently passed bonds in the last few years. I realize that our school district is asking for $75 million from our taxpayers, and that is a significant amount of money. So I just wanted to show how other school districts, how much money that they've asked for, their communities have supported, and then why you see upgraded facilities in those school districts. It's coming from bond proposals that they've recently passed, because truly none of us have that kind of money in our capital fund that we're receiving from the state of Michigan. So we can only rely on our community and our taxpayers to support any kind of upgrades. So, for example, Allen Park has been doing a lot of work. That's because they passed a $74 million bond in 2021. All the way down to Woodhaven, who we all see when we drive off the island. And that's because in 2020, they passed $144 million in a bond program. So that's really how they've been able to do the amount of upgrades that we see. But even Lincoln Park in 2019 passed $60 million, Grosse Point $111 million, Novi $185 million in 2019. So at this time, our Grosse Ile School District is asking whether or not our community would support a $75 million bond proposal with both of those proposals combined. So again, just a reminder of the current millage rate that our residents are paying to support their schools right now is 4.39 mils. Should proposal 1 pass, that is going to stay at 4.39 mils because there is no tax rate increase. And really the reason for that is because we do have debt falling off from prior millages that were bond proposals that were passed many years ago, and those are falling off. And so this is an opportunity for us to sell some bonds and keep the current millage rate intact with no increase. Then if proposal 1 and 2 passes, the 4.39 mils that is on your tax bill right now would increase to 5.59 mils. So overall together, if both proposal 1 and proposal 2 pass for the $75 million, you're looking at a total increase of 1.2 mils. And at the end, I'll show you where you can find a bond calculator to where you can put in your taxable value from your home and find out what that approximate dollar amount means. 1.2 mils, not everybody knows what that means, so we want to make sure that we told you in actual dollars. So how is the money spent? So our bond is a qualified bond through the state of Michigan, which means we had to go through a very intense process last year to put together a preliminary qualification application take it to the Department of Treasury. They went through all of our projects, our plan, our funding structure, our cash flow, all of those things they looked at before they would approve us to put this on the ballot. And with that comes very strict stipulations about how we can use the money. So bond proceeds can be used for construction and remodeling, purchase of technology, equipment, and infrastructure, purchase of, like I said, equipment, other equipment, and furniture throughout the district, and also site improvements. We cannot use the money for salary, wages. We can't use it to hire more teachers in lower class sizes. We can't use it for general operating expenses. We can't use it to pay for heating, for lighting. We can't use it for repairs or even maintenance. We cannot use it for classroom supplies. We cannot upgrade our textbooks with it. None of those things would have been allowed had we put them in our preliminary qualification application to the state. Another question that I'm asked a lot is the difference between bond proposals and sinking funds. So bond proposals are used to finance major capital projects. We're able to borrow money up front by issuing bonds and then paying back those bondholders over time using the money that's collected from our residents. Sinking fund is tax revenue that's collected on an annual basis to address more immediate needs, such as in our school buildings, our facilities, or our surrounding school sites. This is intended for repairs and more limited improvements rather than major capital projects. So if I used my house, for example, a bond would be used to put an addition on my home, where a sinking fund would be used if my furnace went out. So a bond is used, so a school district asks for a bond when we're looking for major capital upgrades that have long lifespans on them, say like a roof, where a sinking fund is used in case something happens in the middle of a school year and we want to be able to keep school in session. So an example would be just those unforeseen things that maybe we weren't able to plan for, or something happened. So let's say the boiler goes out in the middle of a school year in the winter. I would have to cancel school. So if we didn't have the funds like we have in a sinking fund to be able to immediately do those repairs when they happen. So a sinking fund is more like having a fund that is there for things in case we need it, where a bond is really looking into the future and making sure that we are investing in our schools and have doing capital upgrades that keeps our kids in good shape in the buildings that they're learning in. Here's information on where and when you can register to vote and how to vote. And then, like I said, we will take any questions that you have. Please email those to myself, any member of our team, or a building principal. And then the last thing I want to show you is where to find more information outside of what I just shared with you today. And that is on our website. So I'm hoping that our recording here will follow me with this. But if you go to gischools.org and you click on this button over here, it is going to take you to this page, which will give you all this information on the bond. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and show you. So here I am on the GI Schools website. And the very first thing that comes up is our video. So I would encourage you to listen to our video and get more information from that as well. But if I click over here on this button, it takes me to this page. This over here will get you there as well. And this is our 2022 bond proposal page. So we have our brochure that was mailed to all the homes. We have, if I go to this document will actually show you what's on the language that's on the ballot. We know that can be very confusing, especially when it says things like Proposal 1. It states that the estimated levy will be 1.36 mils. But right down here, it then says the total amount of qualified loans currently outstanding is 0. And this is actually going to be a 0 mil net increase over the prior year's levy. All of this can be very confusing. It's even very confusing to me as a superintendent who only works on bonds, a couple of times in one's career. So we wanted to have a document where we kind of spelled out exactly what these things are saying. All right, so we also have a frequently asked questions document that as questions come in, we add those. I'm going to take us to the last page of this document to show you some questions that came in after we printed the brochure that got mailed to all the houses. We had these questions come in, so we added them to the frequently asked questions document. And we will keep adding them all the way up until November 8th on voting day. So what will happen to Meridian? What about the increased traffic at Park Lane? And then is there any money in the bond proposal for a new pool? I'll address this right now. I have the chance. The reason why there is not money in the bond for a new pool is not because the district does not support a new pool. That's not true. Actually, the reason is because when we surveyed our community last year through the strategic plan process, the information that we received back from those community surveys, and it was sent to everybody on Grosse Ile, not just our families who have school-age children. And what we heard loud and clear is that our community was not interested in supporting a tax increase. So that's why we have two proposals. One, which is proposal 1, which is a no tax increase, and then proposal 2, which is a small tax increase. Given that feedback that we received from the community, adding a pool to the proposal 2 and asking for an increase of taxes even more, we did not think would be supported by the community. So we thought we'd at least try and see if the community would support upgrading the facilities that we currently have right now, instead of asking them to do that and build new facilities. So that's really the reason why. It doesn't mean that we can't look at a pool in the future and all of that. So it's just, it's a tough time. There's a lot of proposals on the ballot, and we wanted to make sure that we structured proposals based on the information that, based on information we received from the surveys that we got from our community. And then the last thing I want to show you is this bond tax calculator. So this is what I told you about, where you can actually, I'm going to accept the disclaimer here, where you can put in your annual household income. So I'm just going to use easy numbers here. I'm going to put 100,000 in for annual household income. This is your taxable value, which please note is approximately 50% of your home value. So the average home value on Grosse Ile is $400,000. So I'm going to put in half of that, being $200,000 for a taxable value. So if your home is worth $400,000, you would put in $200,000. And then what is your status? Are you general, senior, or disabled? And then is your home your primary home, which would be homestead, or is your home a second home and you actually live somewhere else and you have a second home on Grosse Ile? Then you would be non-homestead. But we're going to do homestead. Grosse Ile Township defaults to that, so you don't do anything with that. I'm going to click this button, and then this is where it will show me what my increases would be. So if proposal 1 passes, first of all, my estimated tax bill is about $8,800. That's what you're currently paying. If bond proposal 1 passes, that will go up by $0. If bond proposal 2 passes, this number will go up by $240 a year, which is about a $20 monthly increase if you have an escrow account, and then a 66-cent increase for daily. If both proposal 1 and 2 passes, these two added together is obviously $240. So I just wanted to thank you again for listening to this presentation. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me directly, and we'll get your questions answered. So thank you, everyone, for your support of Grosse Ile Schools.